Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that we have that catchy title out of the way, let's sit down, relax, get in our place of Zen, and let's talk about this. And the reason I have to make titles like that sometimes is, and I hate to have to say this, but a lot of you guys are going to understand. You millennials are going to understand. When I'm talking to you, and you are the largest YouTube audience, are the millennials, that you have to speak in hyperbole to you guys, or you guys just almost don't get it. And it seems like, and it's something I read quite a bit about, that psychologists have noted that millennials communicate in hyperbole. And if you don't communicate with millennials in hyperbole, sometimes they don't get it. And it makes me feel like sometimes if I don't say something like, man, guys, the people who are trying to sell you or convince you to take zinc and iron supplements and other metal supplements are evil. They're terrible, awful people, and I need to get one of my Glocks out and cock it and say, I need to take this and take them behind the building and shoot them in the head and execute them. It's like if you don't demonize the people or go with some extreme message like that, it's hard sometimes to get millennials or this last generation, the next younger generation down in their 20s now, to understand that they shouldn't be taking these products. It's like you can't just tell them, hey, you need to quit taking these products. They're bad for you. They're going to hurt you. You're throwing money away. This is a bad idea to supplement these metals without consulting a physician first. They don't get it. It's like you have to give this extreme message sometimes for the message to sink in. But the truth is, the majority of these guys who are telling you to do this, other YouTubers and things, they're not evil people. They're not bad people. They're just ignorant people. They're not well-read enough or not intelligent enough to actually realize that they are giving advice that could hurt or kill people. They don't grasp it because they're caught up in the supplement game. They're just caught up in the industry. A lot of them aren't really special people. They're people with a little bit of genetic gifts, go on a little bit of gear, and who can present themselves well on the camera. And that's generally what it takes to make it, at least early on in the fitness YouTube game. And therefore, they don't really know any better. A lot of the people on forums, a lot of the trainers with social media and everything else, they're getting paid a little bit by supplement companies. They grew up around this industry. They don't understand that a lot of this stuff is harmful for the same reason. They're the same sort of people. They don't actually know any better. Doesn't make them bad people, they're just ignorant. But the problem is that sometimes the road to ruin is paved with good intentions. And in this case, they might be well-meaning. They're not necessarily even making a profit out of telling you that. Now, if they're selling these products, they damn well know better. Like if they're running a company, they've done enough research. There are people at their company tell them with these, probably taking zinc and iron and stuff isn't a good idea without talking to a doctor. They know that. But most of these guys who are just pimping them a little bit, they're not bad people. They're just ignorant, and that doesn't make them bad people. A lot of us are ignorant about a lot of things. I'm ignorant about certain things. And you know what? That's just part of being human. It is who we are. We're all flawed people. None of us are perfect. And but it seems like you almost have to demonize these people in some way for people to get a message. Everyone wants to demonize everybody else on the internet today, instead of realizing that we're all people with good and bad things about us. Now, at the end of the day, the problem with this is that, like I was saying in the other video that prompted me to make this one, supplementing with metals of any type is dangerous for a couple of different reasons. Now, people are going to try to argue with this, but it's like, well, you don't need to be supplementing them, so I don't know why you want to argue that, well, only in 1 in 10 cases is it possibly dangerous, blah, blah, blah. Do you really care? There's no benefits to taking them. So you're still going to say something like 1 in 10 people could be hurt, or 1 in 20, but no one is going to be helped by it who's taking them. None of these guys are going to gain muscle from it, and I'm talking about for performance. I'm not talking about people with an actual medical issue that need them. I'm talking about guys thinking that if they take zinc, they're going to sleep better, or they're going to boost their testosterone levels, or crazy stuff, or they need iron for more hemoglobin to recover faster from lifting, or to boost testosterone. All these sort of things that people start promoting. This isn't true. None of you guys are going to make any gains from supplementing these metals. In fact, most of you are consuming way more than you probably need in your diet already, which is why it becomes dangerous to supplement them. Most of us who train hard, who lift weights, we eat a lot of food. I think it's fair to say I eat a lot of food. I eat a lot of whole foods. I actually, believe it or not, don't eat very much junk food, if at all. I mean, I go whole weeks at a time without anything anyone would consider to be junk food by normal standards. But I eat a lot. Most of you guys out there and girls are eating a lot. You're not deficient in any metals. All right, if you're eating tons of whole foods, you're not deficient in anything. The problem is that when you start supplementing metals, it's very easy to, in many cases, to develop a toxicity. You can get too much in your system to the point to where it becomes toxic, puts a strain on some of your organs. It could put a strain on your liver. It could put a strain on your kidneys. And let me throw this out there. Hell, let's talk about if you don't even care about living or dying, because some of you guys don't. You're like, YOLO, you only live once. I want gains. I'm going to get big as fuck, and I'm going to die at 28, and they can bury me because I don't want to be an old 30-year-old piece of shit. Fuck that. I'm going to slay pussy and get massive and die in my 20s. All right. That's your prerogative, fine. But let me ask you a question. If you're straining your liver and your kidneys and your other detoxification organs in your body with excess metals, do you think that's going to affect your recovery from training? Yeah, if you're overtaxing these organs in your body, it could cause slower recovery from your training. Slower recovery from your training is going to equal what? Potential loss in gains. So even from a gains perspective, you might not be doing yourself any good. So again, putting extra strain on organs by taking too much of these metals way beyond what you need. And again, most of us are probably getting more than we need already through our food. The last thing we want to do is add more in a pill form. Issue there. Number two, they create dietary imbalances. There are many metals, since you need all of them in your body in trace amounts for everything to function correctly, metabolism to function, your body to function, your brain to function, your organs, everything. A lot of them are very important. In fact, all of them are. That's why we have dietary requirements for them. A lot of them share similar pathways with each other. For example, zinc. I'd love to bring the zinc one up. Zinc shares a similar pathway with copper as far as absorption in the body goes. And what happens is that if you take in too much zinc, and again, that can happen once you start supplementing it. Let's say you go with a ZMA supplement. If you take in too much zinc, anyone care to guess what happens to your ability to absorb copper? It gets reduced. You reduce your ability to absorb copper. Well, if you need copper for some of your metabolic functions and some of your health and everything else, what happens if you've blocked the absorption of it, even if you're getting enough in your diet? You don't get enough of it. You don't absorb it. Your diet is now imbalanced because you've taken so much of one metal that you've blocked another one that's critical for certain functions. Your health could suffer from it. Your performance could suffer from it. Your recovery could suffer from it. Well, if you're creating a dietary imbalance that in the long term could mess with everything from your metabolism to your recovery to how you feel or your organs functioning, how is that helping you improve your fitness or your goals or your gains? It's not. In the long term, it's hurting you. So why would you want to risk it? If you know that you eat a good balanced diet and you know you're getting plenty of zinc, why in the world would you add more in? Knowing that it's going to risk the malabsorption of copper, which could create other problems for you. You've added one thing in and it's hurt your ability to absorb another thing that you need just as much. It's bad advice. It's terrible advice. The worst part, people are paying money and airspace is being taken up for advice that people are given that they're listening to tell you to take something that's actually going to potentially hurt your health, hurt your gains, hurt your progress. So at the end of the day, the people who are advising you, oh, you need to supplement these metals for whatever reason, and it's not a medical doctor saying, hey, you have a deficiency, I'm going to prescribe you a pharmaceutical grade one of these because you possibly have an absorption issue with it. And oftentimes that absorption issue could be caused by another dietary imbalance, but if he just ups the amount you take of the other one, it will go ahead and eventually bypass it, hopefully. These people are not helping you. They're hurting you, and oftentimes, unless, again, they own a supplement company or something, they probably don't know any better. They're ignorant and they're giving bad advice, not because they're malicious, not because they're bad people, because they're just bros. They're just gym bros, and they don't really know any better. They think they're actually helping you in some cases, but they're not. They're just giving you harmful advice. So again, when I say you don't need to be supplementing metals, it's not something I'm saying arbitrarily or something I'm saying lightly. There are legitimate reasons why it's a bad idea to supplement metals without consulting a physician first. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.